talking about data types. So in Python, there are 4 main data types that I've listed out here. We have strings, which, as I mentioned in the string concatenation video, is any value enclosed in double or single quotation marks. I'm just gonna copy that definition down here. And then we have integers, which I also talked about in the string concatenation video. An integer is any number, any whole number, and its opposite. So negative whole numbers without quotation marks. For example, 4, 10, 100,000. Literally any number, hang on, let me make one of those negative. Any number that doesn't have a decimal point, because once it has a decimal point, it's considered a float. A decimal number, positive or negative. And then a Boolean is just either true or false, which kind of stands out from the rest, but Booleans are insanely helpful. We'll see. So first off, we have strings. So, for example, we have the double and single examples I gave. We've been doing those for a while, so I don't think we need to go over that one too much. But we could just do like print something, whoopsies, and thing. And as you can see, it works with both double and single quotes. Let me just print that they're strings too. And yeah, as we talked about before, they can be concatenated, like that example. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the previous video. And next up, we have integers, or ints. Now, integers are basically any whole number and its opposite, the standard math definition of an integer. There might be people here who don't know what negative numbers are. Don't worry about that. We won't be using too many in this camp, so you should be good for now. And so, integers, let me just print. Basically, how it works is you don't need the double quotation marks, because the second you put the double quotation marks, it becomes a string, and then it's not an int anymore. It doesn't behave like one. So we could do like print 89 or print negative 100. Oh, I should run it. So as you can see, the strings are here, demonstrated by double quote and single quote. The ints are here. They can be positive or negative, and they don't need anything else. These can also be variables. So like ex positive equals 89, and then we can print ex positive, and then do the same with 100 and ex negative. And yeah, it still works the same. Whoopsies, negative 100. But yeah, so those are strings and those are ints. Another cool thing that we can do with integers is math, but we're gonna go over that later. And then after ints, we have the floats. These are the decimals. And yeah, print float. Sorry, my typing's a little ooh. And then now we can print an example of one, which could be 4.7658, because I can. So that's one float. And then now let's print a negative float. Negative 7 point, let me make it 799. And yeah, so those are the floats. And you might be wondering, but what if I'm confused on what data type something is? What you can do is you could just, let's take a random variable like testing type, and we'll make that a float. And what you do is you type testing type. But the problem with this is that once you run it, you don't actually see it since we're not printing anything. So what you do is you take the type function and you put it in the brackets, and then you make it a print function. And now you can see that testing type has the class float, which that's correct. And you can try this with other stuff like ints, and then strings. And even if your string is completely empty, like literally nothing in between the quotes, it'll still come out a string. And now I'm just going to comment that out for a little bit. We're getting to our Booleans. Booleans are true or false values, and they do seem a little useless right now, but trust me, they come in clutch. So basically, they're like true or false. Literally just true or false with the first letter capitalized, no quotation marks or anything, and it prints. The good thing about these is that these can be used for a lot of different functions and like only getting things to happen in certain cases. It does sound really confusing when I say it now, but trust me, in a little bit it's going to be a-okay, making perfect sense. You're going to be zooming down the Python highway, throwing Booleans wherever you go. That was weird, but still. Anyway, the type does work with true and false, and it gives you the class bool. Now, string, int, float, and bool, the little keywords that I've listed right next to the definitions, these four are actually built-in functions into Python, meaning, hang on, let me just, that I can convert one data type to another by doing that. So in the string concatenation video, you already saw me using the string or the str function to convert an integer, age into a string so that it can concatenate with everything else and kind of fit in. But this can also work for different types. It's mainly just converting things to different types from strings, because strings are pretty common. But let's try it out. So we have convert, let me call it to convert, and let's just make it a Boolean, because why not? And then we can do, let me just copy that. And then the value of to convert is also a Boolean, just like our testing type. And now what we can do is we can do this. We make the string function, so we write str, and with absolutely no space, we put parentheses next to it. And then we copy and paste the variable we want to make a string. Then we can print the type of string to convert, and